Yo, what's going on, guys? Got your boy Sweets. Yeah.
Howdy.
What's happening? All right. We're happy Veterans Day to Sweets and to all you vets out there. So here we go.
Liberty or Death podcast.
With your host, Twisted Josh.
Where our motto is facts and common sense over your feelings. No. Why do you gotta say that for?
Yo, what's up, guys? Happy Veterans Day once again to all you veterans out there and Sweets. Trigger is going to be a little late, and so is Brokitch. Brokitch is on another podcast, his podcast, The Savage Patriots. So he's going to be here around 7:30, guys. So don't, but right now we have Sweets, man. I've been
You're stuck with me.
Yeah, I've been trying to get with you, bro. Because I was trying to, man, how am I going to do the show? Because I go like when I did my research, I didn't expect to be talking about privatization. Yeah, tongue twister. Anyway, so So anyway, So I didn't expect to go that way, and then all of a sudden that word it kept on popping in my head. It was like damn, like what the heck, maybe I should talk about this instead, and all the different routes and. Stuff like this stuff has been like it. Okay. By the way, guys, I am not a veteran. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just a normal civilian. That's just I just want to ask veteran questions, because the thing about it is that the reason why I got on this subject is because back in like 7-8 years ago, I used to hear like a lot of veterans, because I have veterans that are family members too, but also I have friends that are veterans as well, and they would always say, well, I got this appointment to go to, and this appointment is gonna be, for this, and then they're gonna be like, they're gonna see me in another 6 months from now, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like what are you talking about? Like seriously, because you would think that the VA, a federal, entity, would be run like a well-oiled machine. You know what I mean? So, I'm just intrigued a little bit. I'm just intrigued by this. Oh yeah. One more thing. So, hold on, Sweets, before we get to you. So, how do you guys like the YouTube basement background? Yeah. Hey, Sweet, you want some water or something?
Puts the lotion on the skin. So you got to work it to where you have like a bucket coming down, throwing the bucket just hanging above you.
Yeah, I don't have a water purifier, but it's a little tinted brown, but it's okay. Grow hair on your chest. So anyway, yeah, man. So tell us about yourself, Sweets.
Let's see. I was in the Army I did reserves when I was in high school, because I ordered a keychain, and all of a sudden Army Reserve recruiter showed up at my door and talked a big game. So I ended up in intelligence when I was a junior in high school. So I went to basic training, came back, finished my senior year, and went out to training in Arizona for intelligence. And then I got back and realized that my unit sucked, so I kind of ignored them. I mean, I was a rebellious kid, and I just kind of stayed away from my unit, did my own thing, and then 2000, I was like, you know what? I need to go to college, and I think the only way I'm going to do it is join the Army. So I went active duty. End of 2000, and then right at the end of 2000, December 2000, I got sent up to the frigid north, the Fort Drum, like the one place I didn't want to go. Mm-hmm. and spent 6+ years there in field artillery. So I busted back, busted ears, busted joints. But I mean, I met some good people. Went to Afghanistan a couple times. Went to Kosovo. And then I left in 2007 for medical reasons. I was medically discharged, and then did the whole civilian life, bouncing around from job to job, and then ended up in the Bureau of Prisons in 2013 until mid 2020 when I resigned again for medical reasons. And I have been medically retired on medical disability for the last 3.5 years.
Oh, wow. Oh, well, thank you for your service, sir. Appreciate you. Yeah, man.
I never know what to say to that. Like, do I say you're welcome? Because it seems conceited if I say you're welcome for my service.
Oh, I wouldn't know. I mean,
I don't know. Like going to like Home Depot or Lowe's and like, oh, thank you for your service when I get my discount. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know, man. I just, I like to think, a bit any chance that I get anyway. So, that's just me. So, all right. So, guys, if you want, like, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna do a Graham Allen. I don't know if you guys see his podcast. He's like, we got this bombing news. Like, share, subscribe, sub. I'm like, what, dude? Like, whoa. There's a lot of you. Like, what the heck, man? You're like,
Yeah, he's a bit intense.
Yeah. He's very funny. But yeah. So I have to ask you this now that I have you on the podcast. How did you get the name Swedes? What's up with that name?
I'm half Swedish.
Oh, you have Swedish? Okay.
Yeah. I've just one of my first email ever. Girlfriend set it up for me. It was Big Swede, and I've had that since I was I think senior in high school. So 1996.
Oh wow!
And I've just run with it, and then I don't know. I've had every variation of Swede in my name since I've been on TikTok for the last 3.5 years.
Yeah. Oh wow! I thought like Swede,
yeah.
He's half Swedish, or he's I don't know. I was like I just have to ask because sometimes I'm just like sometimes people would just come up with I'm a bad boss or a bad PI, you know what I'm saying, as a username. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever, right? So I always have to ask the name. What's the meaning behind the name? So
yeah, like a few years ago, I did that the Ancestry.com, and I learned that I thought I was Swedish and a bunch of other European stuff, and turns out I'm Swedish and Iranian, which I didn't know until 5 years ago. But I feel like saying something like rude ass Iranian would probably not go over as well on social media as rude ass Swede or any version of Swede.
That's funny. Oh shoot, yeah, man. I did that Ancestry too, and I was like, man, I'm all over the map, bro. I'm a straight up mutt, man. So anyway.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So all right. So guys, bear with us. We are going to hit. I'm gonna hit you with an 8-minute video, and then we're gonna get to Swede's experience with the VA. So please bear with me, and let's go. Let's get it. Here we go. Alrighty, so here we go. Play. Awesome. There you go. Bam. Money.
3, 2, 1.
The New York Times calls the holdovers laugh out loud funny.
Bravo.
It's pure movie magic.
That's glaringly apparent.
The Holdovers, rated R, now playing in theaters everywhere.
Simplicity from a credit
Bruh.
card, that's unexpectedly human. The all-new credit card.
I hate ads,
Backlog
man.
peaked in March
Yeah.
2013
Oh.
with 611,000 unresolved.
Oh no, come on.
Military veterans misdiagnosed, wrongly denied medical care, and the benefits that they earned by putting on our nation's uniform.
A new Care 11 investigation raises alarming questions about how a VA doctor
Hold on, sweets. Bear with me, sir. Bear with me. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. Come on now. What the heck, dude? Oh shoot. Here we go. All right. That's not what I wanted. How do I get to? All right. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Don't fall asleep, sweets. Don't fall asleep. All right. See. Here we go. Awesome. Right here. Here we go. Okay. Now I go back to Streamyard, and then I got to share screen. So, there you go.
Would not be properly cared. But that is, in fact, what the case is today.
Veterans across America are struggling to get the care they need. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs has been accused of being too bureaucratic to function, and nobody can seem to lead the department for much longer than a few years.
Breaking news out of the White House. Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin is out.
I don't think the system in its current form is fixable. I really don't.
What's the solution here? I mean, is it throwing more money?
We need to have more accountability out of the VA.
The VA is the second biggest government agency in the U.S., just behind.
Hold on, guys. Remember accountability. Remember that word, accountability. Seriously.
The Department of Defense. And with 170 medical centers and 1,061 outpatient sites across the country, it's the largest integrated healthcare system in the U.S. More than 9 million veterans depend on care from the VA, and the organization just can't keep up. When people think of failed veteran care, they probably think of Walter Reed. The medical center faced allegations of neglect, mismanagement, and unsafe physical conditions that left veterans to fend for themselves. While it was a lightning rod for controversy, it's not actually run by the VA. However, this hospital in Arizona was under the VA's control. The Phoenix VA hospital was found to have kept a secret wait list of veterans seeking care and hid the extent of their struggles from federal regulators. The wait times were so long, it was found that a number of veterans died just waiting to get an appointment. But the VA hasn't always been struggling to keep up. So just when did things go so wrong for the VA? Let's go back in time. Government-backed veterans care has roots dating all the way back to the 1780s, but the Veterans Administration got its official start in the 1930s. On July 21, 1930, President Herbert Hoover signed an executive order establishing the Department of Veterans Affairs. It was designed to provide medical care for war veterans, disability compensation, and retirement payments. Just after the end of World War II in 1945, U.S. Army General Omar Bradley became the second chief of the VA. He was a decorated senior officer in the war, and he's largely credited for modernizing the department. Bradley hired the first female doctors to tend to female veterans in 1946, and he established the long-standing relationship between medical schools and the VA. The department has now become so intertwined with today's medical system that the majority of doctors in the United States receive part of their training at VA facilities. But medical care isn't the only thing the VA is responsible for. A large part of it is compensation for disabilities and benefits for surviving family members. And that payment hasn't been instant. The cost of war lingers years after the battle's end.
President and Mrs. Johnson are among those who are on hand to greet 18 wounded soldiers evacuated from Vietnam.
In fact, payments for the Vietnam War are still being processed today. When veterans come home from war, they're not only faced with adjusting to civilian life, they need to gear up for another battle, Only this is a legal one. There's a massive backlog of veterans waiting to receive their benefits. The backlog peaked in March 2013 with 611,000 unresolved claims. That means more than 600,000 veterans waited more than 125 days to get an initial decision on their claim. If they want to appeal that decision, that's a whole other process that in many cases can take more than 5 years. This is Jim Vale. He's helped veterans through the benefits claims process for more than 10 years. And for those who aren't well versed in the ins and outs of the American legal system, it can be a very overwhelming process. Just look at this old workflow chart.
So yeah, a lot of veterans or service members, when they come out of service, they're surprised when they encounter the VA, and so it's obviously it's very important to have a representative.
In 1988, President Reagan made the VA a full cabinet-level department, a move the VA itself calls the pinnacle of the organization's evolution. In 2001, the VA implemented another major staffing increase. Following September 11th, the VA bumped its staff from 200,000 employees to 350,000. But that increase hasn't been enough. The US is currently 17 years into a war in Afghanistan, and the need for veterans care is not going away. Even with such a massive healthcare network, the demand for care is much higher than the supply. In 2016, the VA tried to solve the backlog problem by implementing something called case flow certification. It's essentially a digital system to help manage the backlog of benefits claims. The numbers have generally decreased, but as of 2018, there are still more than 83,000 benefits claims on the VA's backlog. And depending on where veterans live, that care isn't as easy to come across. If you live in a rural area, the closest VA hospital could be several miles away, which creates another logistical challenge for the VA: how to physically get veterans to a care center.
The big challenge is distance, and the distance from point of care to where a veteran lives.
The VA's Office of Rural Health is working to make things easier for rural veterans. And a big part of that effort includes bringing doctors to veterans even if they can't be there in person.
Veterans are actually able to access VA care in their homes using their iPad and delivering services like everything from mental health, but also to rehabilitation services for veterans with MS, ALS, and similar disorders.
Fixing the VA isn't a partisan issue. It's not specific to just one demographic group or geographical region. Every U.S. representative has a veteran in their district, and nobody wants to be on the wrong side of this. So why does it seem that nobody can fix the VA? Beto O'Rourke is a U.S. representative from Texas, and he noticed just how difficult it was for his constituents to get proper care at their local VA.
And I remember distinctly in January of 2012 knocking on a gentleman's door who told me that he'd just gotten off the phone with the VA, and they had told him to call back next year, 12 months away, because all their appointments for 2012 had been filled, and this was in January.
In 2015, O'Rourke came up with his own fix to the VA, at least in his own district at the El Paso VA hospital. And so far, it's been a success.
We really have a problem, and if we don't meet that crisis with the urgency it demands, then I'm afraid it's only going to get worse.
Today, the VA is under intense scrutiny for both its budget and its operations. The organization has been plagued by extravagant, careless, and seemingly contradictory spending. In one case, the government rented 3 in-home use hospital beds for almost $875,000. If the VA would have just bought those beds, it would have cost $21,000. On March 28, 2018, Trump announced he was firing VA Secretary David Shulkin. He initially nominated White House physician Ronnie Jackson to take his place. Jackson was criticized for his lack of administration.
Hold on, you mean to tell me that if they just... Wow, what the heck, man? That is crazy, isn't it?
That's the government for you. Always go with the highest bidder, but the lowest quality. That's insane.
That is. Holy crap. I was like, what, 875,000? But if you just bought the basement, wow. Yeah, so I smell something fishy, man. Something very
That explains
fishy.
where all the money went.
Yeah, exactly. But we're almost done, so.
Administrative
That's
experience by both lawmakers and veterans groups. And he eventually withdrew himself from the running after allegations that he drank on the job and improperly handed out prescription medications. In the interim, Robert Wilkie is working as the acting secretary. But whoever takes over the secretary's seat will have a long list of shortcomings to address. Some think the answer is to privatize the agency, though not everyone thinks that's a good idea. Just after he was fired, Shulkin wrote an op-ed in the New York Times saying privatizing the VA is, quote, a terrible idea, and that it could end up hurting veterans. The debate over how to handle the VA isn't going away anytime soon, and the future of the well-being of veterans in the U.S. depends on it.
Oh, there you. Oh.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to
Oh,
subscribe to stay
what's up, TW?
You can also
What's
click on
up,
any of
dude?
the videos around me.
What's going on, man?
What do we got here? What's up, brother?
Spectrum Business is big.
Hold on. All right. Yeah, man. What's going on?
Another wonderful day in paradise.
Good. Now I don't have to do all the talking.
What's that?
Now I don't have to do all the talking.
Yeah.
I will help out the best I can.
We were talking earlier. You served, didn't you?
No.
Man, why did I think you served?
A lot of people think that, and I don't know why. I don't know how I get
Probably the beard.
impression. But I don't know. Maybe it's the knowledge that I have of it. But I suffer from seizures, and I've had my first seizure in my senior year of high school when I was recruiting for the Marines. And then I was like, all right, maybe I can switch to the Navy. Not being a dumbass at 18 years old, not knowing that the Marines and the Navy were the same fucking thing. So no, they told me, and I even tried again after September 11th. I was like, you guys got to take me. You guys got to take me. And I cried for 2 weeks because they told me no. And my mom still has the letter from the Secretary of the Navy saying that he appreciates my willingness to go and serve, but they couldn't do it because when I have a seizure, I'm not flopping around on the ground. My right hand goes numb, and I'm right hand dominant. And they were like, "Are you really gonna make your team wait on you while your hand fucking vibrates for 30 seconds?" Okay, I get that. And as an adult now, being 42 years old, I understand completely. But
yeah,
it still breaks my heart.
I mean, it's kind of like if you're in a firefight, that'd be a good thing. If it goes numb and just kind of just sticks.
What? Exactly. What happens? So when you smack your funny bone, that's what it feels like.
Oh, that's
and
terrible.
over the years, I have figured out how to keep using it even when it's numb like that and all jacked up, because it doesn't last very long. The worst thing that I have is if I'm trying to write something, then all of a sudden the pen feels like it's that big.
Yeah, man. Whoa, welcome, T-Dubs.
Thank you.
Welcome, bro. Yeah, man. Oh, woo. Yeah, but yeah, basically we were, dude. Why does it feel like I'm yelling? Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Now, yeah, okay. Now I can hear myself because I got a mic to where everything's connected to where I can hear myself talking. Blah blah. So anyway, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, man. Yeah, basically we went over like the video where it actually was it was given the history and also the failures of the VA. So yeah,
Okay.
and, yeah, it's crazy because it was like I was telling Swedes, it's like I was telling Swedes backstage that how well actually no well anyway, there's no accountability. You know what I mean? Like it showed in the video that it had like they bought what they rented out a hospital bed or whatever the case is for $875,000 if they would have just bought the bed for $21,000. Like where did this money go?
3 beds they rented for $875,000, but would have cost just $21,000 if they just bought them.
Wow.
And I was telling him in the beginning, like, they got all this money that was supposed to improve the healthcare, and I was like, I don't know where it went, and now I do. Went to three beds.
That's right. Well, go back to the 90s. Remember $40,000 for a hammer? Did they really spend almost $1 million for a hospital bed, or did that go into the pockets of some bullshit politician?
Yeah,
right.
True. I mean, I've been trying to get them to give me one of those adjustable sleep number beds for years, and they just won't do it.
Jeez.
Wow.
Were you airborne?
No, I was supposed to go airborne when I first joined. I was in the reserves.
Oh, okay.
And I got hyped up on my recruiter, like, oh yeah, I was an intelligence analyst. He's like, you can go airborne, you can go Ranger school. I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then none of that happened. They never did my paperwork to send me to airborne school. They never did anything for me to go to Ranger school. And I was like, you guys suck. I'm out.
Wow.
And I just stopped going to my drills.
I don't blame you.
They promoted me too. I'd stopped going to drills and they promoted me. I was getting mail for like Sergeant Reynolds. I was like, I was a private when I left. What the hell? And then I joined active duty because I was like, I'm going to go to college. And oh, by the way, I was telling you, Josh, about like I wanted to go to college. I never finished.
Yeah.
They were paying for it. I'd never finished. I got to the point I was like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this anymore.
That's probably what my son's doing right now because he was in Japan for 2 years. He's in the Navy. And he was stationed on the Reagan. He did that for 2 years, came home. Now he's in Norfolk, where he is now stationed on the John C. Stennis, which is in dry dock. And I told him that those college courses are free. So I guarantee he got through 1 year and went, fuck this shit. This is dumb.
Oh, I did even better than that. I've got 96 credits. And I just stopped. I was like, I don't want to do this. I was like, I was on the verge of like I was technically a senior in college, and I was like, this is stupid. And then it all expired, and I was like, I'm not paying for this out of pocket anymore. So
I don't blame you.
Oh. All right, sweet. So tell us about your experience with the VA, man. If you don't mind.
Oh well, it's a long, drawn out, almost 17 years of experience now.
Okay.
There's been a couple of bright spots, but I would say out of that almost 17 years, about 90% of it sucks. And when I first got out, I was at Fort Drum up here in northern New York. And so I was stuck going to the Syracuse VA. Garbage. And it's because I got out, I got medically discharged because of my back. But then I had some additional stuff. Like I suffer from migraines. I've got the ringing in the ears, which is funny because I filed for a claim for hearing loss because I was artillery. And they're like, no, that's not service connected. I'm like, dude, I sat right next to a howitzer for 6 years. Like, no. I was like, all right, well, but they gave me the ringing in the ears. So that's cool. But yeah, like I've had, like my first experience, I had a provider who I found out after a while, like I didn't realize I could look at my notes on like in my file. Like I could see what the nurses or whatever would write about me. And I actually got her, I don't know if I got her fired or just sent somewhere else because I found out she was lying about me in my notes, saying that I was refusing treatment and that I was showing up late to appointments. And being in the military, I was always taught if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. So I was early to everything. And I was like, well, are you kidding me? So I filed a complaint with the VA, and next thing I know, I had a different provider. So I was like, all right, well, that works. At least they listened a little bit. But the worst part is, so 17 years I've been dealing with back issues and progressively, now it's arthritis in the back, bulges and all this other stuff. Not once have I ever been seen by a surgeon. I think I was seen by a surgeon once, and he's like, lose weight, you'll be fine. And that was a VA doctor. I was like,
wow.
Oh, okay. And this was, I think when he told me that, I was just getting out of the Army, so I was like 200 pounds. I've had pain, like when I joined active duty, I think I was like 175. And shortly after I joined, I did something to my back and carrying artillery rounds. So I've had pain from 175 to now I'm like 260. The weight's not a thing. It doesn't affect my back. It hurt when I was skinny. It hurts when I'm fat. I don't know, but yeah, that was an actual thing that a VA doctor told me. Like, you just got to lose weight and you'll be fine. I was like, oh. That was like 16 years ago. And I've actually gotten down where I've lost weight before, and my back still hurt. But
have you looked into looking at another doctor? Because it sounds like you haven't done this for a while, because in April of 2017, Trump signed the doctor's choice for veterans, and the VA will still cover those bills.
Yeah.
Have you looked into that?
No, I do. Well, here it's like, now that I've moved here, before I moved like a year ago, I was like 2.5 hours away from the nearest VA hospital. But so when I first moved there was 2014. So it was still Obama, and the community care stuff sucked. Like it basically considered my clinic that I went to that had nothing. It didn't have, you couldn't get x-rays, nothing. You get blood drawn and you could talk to your provider. That was it. And they're like, oh, well, that's a VA hospital. So they wouldn't approve me for community care. So they would make me drive 2.5 hours to Albany for any appointments, except like there were some things, I think, like the chiropractor they didn't have. So I got approved for the VA to pay for a chiropractor locally, acupuncture. But now that I'm here, I have a chiropractor in the VA. She's great, and she does acupuncture apparently. But yeah, when I first got there, they finally revamped it after Trump got in, but it was for the longest time that community care stuff. The way they defined hospital was basically any kind of clinic, so they weren't approving outside care. It's been better. I definitely, like I was telling Josh earlier, like if it wasn't for Trump, I think I would probably, I mean, I don't even know the kind of pain I would be in. Because of the treatment and the long lapses, like they make you wait like months. Like I have a neurology appointment for some stuff going on in the back of my head and some nerve stuff in my legs. I've been waiting for 2 months. They scheduled it 2 months ago. And that was I've even asked, like, can you guys check the community? And they're like, well, they're scheduling even further out. So, and it's not even an in-person appointment. I'm like, this is a neurology consult, and you're going to look at me through a computer screen and determine what's going on with my nerves without touching me, without doing any kind of physical exam. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of weird stuff the VA does. But yeah, I think the last 2 years, the community care got a lot better because they changed their contractor or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it's a different company that handles it, but it used to be it would take you forever to get appointments. Like they would, and then it just like after a certain point, you're just like, all right, I'm just going to deal with the pain, which that was another VA doctor told me, like, you have chronic pain. You're just going to always have to deal with it. I'm like that's not what you want. That's not, as a patient, what you want to hear. Like, you just got to deal with it. Like, there's nothing we can do. Like, all the medical care in the entire country, and y'all can't find out like a way to fix my back. But I mean, but yeah, I think I actually don't mind the VA too much since I moved here. It's I guess they're just nicer. I don't know. I've always dealt with because I've been pretty opinionated about my I've filed complaints all the time. Like back in when I was first going through the VA, I would file I would get on va.gov and I would file complaint after complaint after complaint about, it's like, oh, I got this appointment. They made me wait 6 months, or I drove down to Syracuse once for injections in my back. And this was I was driving in a blizzard. Like, I drove from Watertown, New York to Syracuse, about 70 miles in a blizzard. And I'm from the South, so I don't do well in the snow. And I got there probably 15, 20 minutes early. And then 2 hours later, they still hadn't seen me. So I just walked out. I was like, listen, you just cancel my appointment. I'm going home. I just drove 70 miles in a blizzard. And then they're like, well, we've got other people that come even further and blah, blah, blah. And then since I knew I could look at my notes, they put in that I refused treatment and that I showed up late for my appointment. and that's why I didn't get my injection.
Wow.
Yeah. Like the VA, I mean, that was the Syracuse VA. I have dealt with the Atlanta VA, which is atrocious. Then the Albany VA, and now I'm on the western side of New York, so I don't even know what my region. I think Buffalo is my regional office. But like, and that was the other thing too, is I don't know, I think they do now. But back when I was first going through all this stuff, and like I moved from New York to Georgia, and that was like 2011, I think. And when I got into the Atlanta VA system, like I'd gone through all these steps for my back, and I get to Atlanta like, oh, well, we're going to go ahead and schedule for this, this, and this. I was like, I already did that. Oh, well, yeah, we can't communicate with other VAs, so we're just going to have to start over. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I've spent 4 years doing all this stuff that you want me to do again. Like, I want to get to this point. And they're like, well, you got to do this, this, and this. Because they couldn't, I guess, this is what they told me. I don't know. It didn't seem like it made sense. It didn't make sense to me at the time. Like how you have an entire, like one federal entity, but then suddenly because it's a different state, you're not communicating. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't. Oh man, that's crazy. And wow, dude, that's crazy, dude. Oh, hold on. But then they've got somebody else. Hold on. Ready? You got it? Ready, guys?
What is up, man?
What's up,
Is that the kid?
Yeah, I had to lead the Savage Patriots. It's still going on. I told him I had another engagement.
Wow, man. Shout out to the Savage Patriots, man. Wow.
Oh, man, they're still going on. We're eating up Ice Speak right now.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, yeah. What's going on?
Not much, brother. Just, we're talking about Swedes and his VA experience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Popping my podcast cherry.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
No, it's not. So yeah, what I also want to hit on too is what doesn't make sense to me here, guys, it's Veterans Health Administration is home to one of the United States' largest integrated care systems, consisting of 171 medical centers, more than 1,400 community-based outpatient clinics, community living centers, and so together these these health care facilities and the more than 53,000 independent licensed healthcare practitioners who work within them provide comprehensive care to more than 9.1 million vets each year. What I don't get is what the hospital to vets ratio. It doesn't make sense to me. Here in my town, I everywhere I go, I can find like a little hospital, but I only have like one VA outpatient clinic. You know what I mean? So that the ratio, the math is not mathing to me, at least.
Yeah, one thing that I've always been a big advocate of, because when I was living in Austin, I was really big. I was a huge part of the veteran community out there. I was part of a lot of nonprofits. I was real big in the veteran community.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I've always been an advocate for was privatize healthcare for veterans. Why should veterans be forced to find the nearest VA? For me in Austin, the nearest VA, when I lived in Austin, the nearest VA was in Temple. And I was about 30 minutes away. So why not, like you said, there's clinics and hospitals all around major cities or even small towns. There's a hospital there, there's a clinic there, and anywhere you go.
Right.
Why not just allow veterans to opt in like us retired people do? We opt in into TRICARE, we pay into TRICARE, and then they give us our provider, which is usually local. And I just never understood that, because you do get better health care. The health care is more personal when you have your private doctor, and you get better care overall.
Oh, okay. So
you don't just have some cashier bringing you in, sending you out, bringing you in, sending you out. You have an actual primary care physician.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. And that's how it should be all around. And I don't know how that is here in Colorado. We've got 3 different locations. We have a VA hospital here in Colorado Springs. We have one in Denver, and we have a little clinic in Pueblo. So the 3 major cities of Colorado all have VA care. But a lot of other small clinics, like, I can't even think of a clinic right now, but a lot of them will accept VA benefits after Trump signed his doctor's choice in 2017, April 2017. So, my dad, he can get into any VA hospital within days of making his appointment. So the biggest thing with that is, and of course, it comes with government funding, is a VA hospital being built in every area. And that's, I think that needs to be the strongest advocation, is getting more hospitals built. We can find doctors and nurses anywhere. Everybody wants to be in the medical field. And if we were to open more VA centers, more people would be inclined to get into the medical field even more.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But also, a lot of veterans receive disability benefits also. So what the VA, Department of the Army, whatever, Department of Defense, they can give veterans a stipend. So they go, okay, you get your disability, but on top of that, we're going to give you an extra $500 a month. This $500 a month goes towards any type of medical insurance you want to pay into. There's ways around it, but to me, I personally, I'm not part of the VA system, and all the horror stories I've heard from the VA. I went to the VA one time to take a friend there, and I looked around that place, and just walking in that place alone, you're just like,
it's depressing. It's depressing.
It's very depressing, and you just see all these old and just depressing, like Sweet said. But when you go into a private hospital, it's a little more like, oh yeah, I'm here. Hey, welcome, sir. How's it going? In the VA hospital, there's like, what do you need? How can I help you? Okay, sign this. Go sit over there. Then you wait 2 hours to see somebody. Then you go in and they give you a bunch of pills. All right, come back. Call us when you need us. Usually with a private doctor, to me, it's more personal. And I think veterans need more like personal care, where your physician by first name. He knows you. He knows your kids. He knows he knows everything about you. VA, sometimes you don't get it like that. It's just some dude that's on a contract, some doctor. He's a contractor. He comes there and works for a little while, then he's on. Then you got a whole new guy. Then you're like, man, I got used to this last guy. Now I got to open up to you. So I don't know. The whole system's just messed up.
I actually have lucked out in my last. I've only had technically 3 providers, because before I moved from my last spot, I had one guy the entire time for, say, from 2014 to for 6 years. I had the same guy, and he was awesome. And then he started getting to a point where he was gonna retire, and then he was coming kind of, so I had to deal with some other. I didn't like her, but whenever I got to see Dr. DeLucas, I was like, yeah. And he was always like pushing to get me like the care that I needed. And then I moved here, and I've got the same provider. She's not a doctor. She's not a PA? No. I don't know. She's like a nurse practitioner or something, but she's not a full doctor. But I mean, she's been pretty good. Like, that's the one thing. And like, I kind of agree with the privatization, but I don't know. I guess like it definitely would help if there were more VA. Like when I moved, the closest VA hospital was 2.5 hours away.
Wow.
Or I could go to, actually, I don't even remember. I never went to the VA. No, it was 2.5 hours away for White. I don't remember the name of it. It was in Vermont, but it was like on the other side of Vermont from New York. And then you had to pay a toll to go on the ferry to get to Vermont. And it was just a process. And here, like, I got 40 minutes, or I got Syracuse 2.5 hours away. I got Rochester 2.5 hours away. I got Buffalo. Like, for some reason, the VA felt like the western side of New York needed a whole bunch of hospitals, and the eastern side was like, "You're good with one. We just screw you guys." But hey,
West, look into Massachusetts.
All the hospitals.
Is there anything in Massachusetts? Because that's like 2.5 hours from me too.
Is it?
Yeah, like Boston, it's probably 2.5 hours from me.
Oh, I've never even looked into that. I know there's a hospital, I think in Sayre, Pennsylvania, which is like 20, 30 minutes for me. But it's all about regions too.
Oh,
And then you get into that thing where like you worry if they're going to communicate with or put in like send the stuff to your primary care providers. I just like the 40 minutes for me to the one I go to now it's fine for me. And it's actually when I get there, they're actually very personable. I haven't dealt with any assholes yet. Like the entire time, they're always willing to help and listen. And that's definitely not. I think before I moved from Georgia back to New York, it was always like the Atlanta VA was you were just another number. Syracuse VA, just another number. Like I've had the worst experiences at those two places. Albany, once I got to the point where I could do the community care, I just didn't even go to Albany unless I absolutely had to. So it was nice because then I could do all the local like. But then it was like because I was doing so many medical appointments, I was bouncing from different doctors, like for chiropractor to acupuncture to injections in my back and my neck and implants in my back. Like it was always different people. Like it got to be really irritating. Here I'm seeing the same people over and over. And I've also because like Bro said is like you usually go in there and it's just like here's some medication, take this. I finally got to a point like I don't want to like I take a couple of pills, like I take anxiety pills and I tried to wean myself off that a few months ago. Taking them for 3 years. But I also started some other like a testosterone gel because like I just have no energy ever. But then I weaned myself and I looked it up. I looked exactly up how I should wean myself off. I didn't talk to the VA about it because I was like, they would probably be like, no, I wouldn't recommend that. So I was like, I just don't want to be on the anxiety meds anymore. It was like, it made me like, I'm taking naps. I'm 45 years old. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna lay down. I got this nice comfy recliner. And all of a sudden I started getting dizzy spells. And I thought it was because I just started this testosterone gel and there was something else I was taking. And I was like, man, this is weird. I'd just be walking and all of a sudden I'd have to stop for a second, like, that ain't right. Ended up in the ER because like I couldn't catch my breath. And then they're like, oh, I don't know what, but you should stop taking the gel. And I was like, all right, I stopped taking the gel. And then, so the reason I take the anxiety meds, it's really weird. You're going to probably laugh at me. I used to have a thing where I'd be watching TV, commercials, movies. It didn't matter. If something really happy happened or if something really, I got my emotions like I was like a faucet. I was like, I would just be sitting there watching a movie and like, oh God. And I'm like, I'd have to hide it because like I'm sitting with my fiance at the time. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I should not be almost crying at like some stupid commercial on TV.
I can relate.
And then when I weaned myself off of the meds, I was watching a movie and that it happened. It hadn't happened for 3 years. And then it happened and I started like getting welling up. I was like, nope. Next day I started taking my pills again. I was like, and I've been fine. Like it ended up being this anxiety meds, which I told Josh earlier, like I've never actually seen a mental health professional in the VA to get the anxiety meds. I just told my provider before I moved, I was like, hey man, this is what's happening. I don't know how to deal with it. And he's just like, here, we're going to prescribe you with this. I was like, all right. I've been taking it for 3.5 years, minus that like 2 weeks of me nearly fainting every 5 seconds. Because the VA is like, do not wean yourself off of this.
Mistake.
Totally
mistake.
Now I'm stuck on it.
I mean, you guys. I mean, you would think that with all this money that the VA is getting, I mean, you know, that they're like that the healthcare center would be like it would actually be run like a well-oiled machine. You know what I mean? It's crazy though, man. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's our money. You know, the taxpayers' money. You know what I mean?
Yep. I mean, they're probably just renting out beds. That's all it is.
I mean, if you think about it, in the military, you know, they didn't really care about us. And what made you think they were going to care about us when we got out?
Yeah.
You know, we're still just a number to them. We're somebody that receives benefits. So they do their due diligence just enough to meet their quota or whatever they have to meet. If it was up to them, me personally, I think, especially those of us receiving benefits, they was like, man, we got too many of these guys receiving benefits. Maybe a few of them need to, we can save some money. So I think that's how I be thinking, man. That's how my brain think. They want me to go, don't they?
Yeah,
that's a check.
Like that, and that's where I understand the privatization of it is because in the VA, it's just it's federal. Like the federal government just doesn't give a crap, and it's always going to be red tape and bureaucratic BS to get anything you want. And to that point, I would say, the privatization would probably be a better option, but it would have to be something that would be either all at once or none, because I feel like it would just not go well if it's just here and there. Like they would have to do it like just an overhaul, but then they couldn't do that. They'd have to wean people off. It's like weaning people off of medication. Like you just suddenly were like receiving this treatment from the VA, and now you're like, now you got to switch everything and go over to this guy in the community.
Well, one way they can probably do it, like you said, do it in increments is, let's say, they already got a rule, anything over 50% is blah, 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 blah. So anybody over 50% disabled, we're going to give you a stipend every month or whatever, every quarter to get any private doctor you want. Anything under 50%, you still have to utilize the VA. You know what I mean? There's ways they can do it based off your disability percentage. Because most people that got out are receiving most, not all, are receiving disability benefits. So there are ways they can do it. And if they ask the vet, would you be willing to go to a private doctor? There would be a lot of them that said, yes, I want a private doctor. We have a family doctor that my wife uses. I want to go to the family doctor, Or a lot of them just come out of their pocket and just pay for their own insurance too, because they don't want to deal with the VA. Yeah, those guys also.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, because that's what was showing up in my studies, because the thing about it is that you got that it had a lot of mixed feelings about privatization and privatization. Some people just want to just stick with the VA. And I was like, well, privatization doesn't sound too bad, because at least you guys get to choose. But then, Trigger was saying too, and also Swedes, and what 2017, Trigger, if I'm right. Where I was going with this, dude, I forgot it, man.
It happens all the time.
Dude, yeah. I totally forgot what I was saying, but yeah, why can't you? There's a lot of mixed feelings about it. There in my studies, there's a lot of mixed feelings about it. About privatization. So, yeah.
But one thing I can say is that I hear a lot more complaints out of the VA from people that use the VA than people that use the private insurance and TRICARE. You don't hear a lot of complaints from them. No, it's always the people that use the VA. They're like, the VA. But guys like me who still have TRICARE, I don't really complain, because I get the care I need. When I was in the hospital for a week, perfect care, man. Yeah. And I don't know if I was with the VA, I don't know what would have happened. Just like, thank God.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know what they would have did to me. So
yeah.
Just one of those things.
I wish I still had TRICARE.
Wow.
Alas.
Yeah, I think everybody should keep it. I think when you ETS, based off your percentage, or even if you do a certain amount of time, anything over 12 years, 13 years, once you hit that in-depth status and you decide to get out for some reason, you should have an option. You've done this much time in the military, you've done over half. Would you like to keep TRICARE? And then their option can be like, yes, okay, well, we're going to take this out of your whatever disability, or you're going to have an allotment set up. It's only because I pay for TRICARE every quarter. I think I pay $160 per quarter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
it's not that bad. And
no, it's not.
Of course you got to pay, your deductions when you go to the hospital, and you still have to pay for all that. But the overall, just to pay for the care is not that bad.
Wow.
It could be more now. I haven't looked at it, but it goes up every year.
Well, this is the thing that caught my attention. This is the reason why I wanted to do the show about the VA, because of this story here. Because around this time, I was like, thinking just like I was telling, I was telling Trigger and Sweets, bro, was this is what caught my attention is that the veterans have to wait like so long to get seen, by doctors, and I'm like, what's the deal? You know what I mean? So this right here only scratches the surface, and it goes deeper than that. I was like, holy crap, man, what the heck is going on? It's just, oh my gosh.
Yeah, the VA does enough just to fix, put a Band-Aid on it. They put a Band-Aid on it and just enough to keep you happy. But for me, when it comes to privatized doctors, you're paying for it. You're probably going to usually pay for the care, get the care that you pay for.
Wow. Yeah. And this is the timeline of the Phoenix VA scandal. That basically said they never ended, and it actually breaks it down because I believe this is the one that started to talk about the VA, you know what I mean, as far as the the entity of it. So yeah, that's crazy, man. It's while it says the GAO sheds light on systemic problems with wait times and scheduling processes at House VA committee. And it said vets are dying while awaiting appointments for care.
Yep.
And I'm like, wow, really? Dude.
And the VA is way more broken than just the medical side of the house. Education, all of it. The VA, the whole system's just needs to be revamped,
Yeah.
So you can't get a hold of no one ever at the VA. It's always fill this out online, and you try to get a hold of somebody, you can't really call anybody. So everything's done digital. So you're relying on hoping that whatever you submitted got to them in time. Then it's like a 30-day waiting period, or it's a waiting period. Then they finally respond to you. So I think just the whole system just needs to be revamped. You put more people in there to where they're a little more personal with whoever's calling. Stop putting me on AI calls. Stop telling me to email you. Stop all that. Because a lot of times these veterans out there need help, like right now. And then you put them on some waiting list, like you said, and they wait forever to get their help, and then they can't take it anymore, and then things happen that shouldn't happen. So it just needs to be revamped, the whole system. Got it.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too, is so they used to have kiosks in the VA hospitals. And you would go in, you get your VA card, you check into your appointment, and you could do travel pay. And then a few months ago, I know here, I'm assuming it's all across the VA, they ended their contract with whoever was handling the travel pay side. But then you have to use, I don't know if you guys have ever used it's BTTS, but it's like one of those travel pay. Like if you've ever worked for the government, you had to do travel pay and the vouchers and all that stuff. It's like that. Now imagine a bunch of like I'm already technologically illiterate. But imagine the older guys trying to figure out this computer, and it sucks. It's the absolute worst. So I noticed when I was I made a post about this on TikTok too a little while ago, but I noticed whenever I filed, because you get the mileage reimbursement. So for me to go from here to Bath, which is 40 miles, and then both ways 80 miles, it was supposed to be $33 and change. But I noticed whenever I would get approved for my pay, I was getting $27. I'm like, that's weird. And I kept meaning to ask, and I kept forgetting. And finally, one day I went in and filled out a paper and handed it to her. I was like, hey, I also have a question. What's up with this? Why do I lose $6 every time I get paid? Turns out, she told me, she's like, oh, well, yeah, apparently a lot of veterans have been asking about this, but apparently with the program, they take $18 a month for your first 3 visits. So I guess if you go more than 3 times in a month, you'll make your money eventually. But that first 3 times, they take $6 every time to pay for a program for us to do travel pay. So as a veteran, I'm paying $18 a month to the VA to pay me my travel pay. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that system just needs to be.
Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then I had to go to urgent care a couple weeks ago for the thing on my neck, and I filed for my travel pay, and then I only got paid for one way. And so when I saw this lady, it was the same lady. And I was like, hey, so I only got like one way for my last travel. It was like, oh, was it urgent care? Yeah. Oh yeah, they only count that as a one-way trip. I'm like, how does that even make sense? Like, I drove here. I had to obviously drive back home. Like, how are you going to pay me for half my trip because, the VA prefers you to come to their urgent care? But I don't know. But yeah, that's definitely like, that was one of those things where I was like, I've had a lot of things in 17 years be like, man, the VA is corrupt as hell.
That's that VA math, man. We all know about that.
Yeah. The fact that they make the veterans pay $18 a month for their program to pay them to come to see them. I'm like, what?
You got to get that money back.
Yeah.
I don't.
The disability percentages, I still haven't figured out that math.
No one. That's up in the ether somewhere. Only the demigods know about that math. You know, us down here, we don't know how they mathematically figure that out.
Yeah, I've always thought 10 plus 10 was 20, but apparently in the VA, 10 plus 10 is 6.5. What?
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, crazy,
when you get out and you're looking at your disability worksheet and you're like 10%, 15, and you're doing all the math and you got your little book and you're like, man, it says right here that I got 90%. And you're like, then they give you your worksheet. They're like, oh, 70%. What?
Yeah.
That don't add up. Wait a minute.
I have 140% all told for the things that I get a disability percentage for. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I get paid 80%. So there's 60% somewhere in the ether that's just like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing up here, but you're not gonna ever see me.
Yeah.
The VA doesn't make any sense.
I'm about to get mine raised, so I know that. Get to that.
Oh, yeah, I just filed a new claim. I got sleep apnea now. I got that fat old man disease.
Hey, same here, man. Same here. I don't blame. It's hard to sleep with that mask on, man. I tell you.
I didn't even do a mask. I was like, oh, you got the under the nose thing? I was like, that'll be perfect. I had to stop after 3 days because I was waking up in the middle of the night because it was like crushing my nose. I'm like, yeah, I can't do this. So now I got to go in Monday and get a mask. I'm like, awesome. Just so I don't die at night.
Hey, I think I might have it, but if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. I'm not wearing no damn mask. That's I'm not doing it. It's my time to go. It's my time to go. That's it.
CPAP.
Yep, not doing it. How'd he die? Well, he snored himself to death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And your Chihuahua's going to end up having a big dinner.
Oh yeah, she would too. I don't know what she's doing right now. She's over there knocked out. Big meanie.
Speaking of math right now, did you guys hear about this like 5 years ago up there in Colorado? They built a new Veterans Affairs hospital, cost almost $2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
I heard about that.
You heard about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna play this real quick for the audience. Just real quick.
We're in the concourse at close to the northern end.
Hold on, give me a second.
A sprawling complex. This is the VA's new medical center, just east of Denver. A sprawling complex.
We're in the concourse at close to the northern end.
Director Sally Hauser-Hanfelder showed it to us before it opened.
How many buildings? How big is it?
There's 12 buildings in all.
Army pilot David Ortiz was paralyzed from the waist down after his helicopter crash in Afghanistan in 2012. Most impressive to him,
that's outstanding.
A new spinal cord unit with sliding doors and specially configured bathrooms.
What do you think? To be honest, I was pretty blown away.
But the project's history has been troubled, to say the least. There are 170 medical centers in the VA system. Almost a decade after the groundbreaking for this facility doubled the size of the old one, its ballooning costs have made it the most expensive ever. Design, construction, and management issues blew up the budget from $328 million in the initial prospectus in 2004 to almost $2 billion as of today. Its opening delayed repeatedly.
To some, that might sound a little outrageous.
It might.
Worse, the new
It
center
is.
is missing
Not
a
might.
PTSD facility it was supposed to have. So the VA is keeping the old medical center open too, for now. How did that happen?
You know, I wasn't here for the planning process or anything, so I can go back 2.5 years. I think for anything else, you'll need to talk to headquarters.
But the VA in Washington only provided a written statement saying no one is defending the problems. The VA has taken responsibility for those and learned from them. Government documents reveal blatant mismanagement, showing the VA gave the contractor incomplete designs and never came close to one that could be built for the budgeted amount.
It broke my heart.
Judy Guy was the project's coordinator in Denver for 12 years. She blames VA construction officials in Washington and says cost information was kept from her and her team.
The money broke this project. And people who were trying to avoid blame broke this project.
Now retired, she's speaking publicly for the first time.
Taxpayers should be outraged. They should be outraged that this kind of money is being spent because of the incompetency of the VA.
Who dropped the ball here?
Well, I think the Veterans Administration did. The fact is that they misled the Congress.
Colorado Congressman Mike Kaufman, a Marine veteran, pushed for the Army Corps of Engineers to take over and finish the project.
Taxpayers ought to be outraged that those responsible were never held accountable.
Now,
How do you miss an entire building? Like how? At what point in that building process did someone not just be like, "Hey guys, isn't there supposed to be something over here?" Like you completed an entire project and then we're like, "Oh,
that was done on purpose." You know, somebody pocketed that money. You don't just, like you said, you just don't miss a whole building when you have a layout of the construction site. You know exactly what's supposed to go there, and like, how do you just poof?
Yeah.
Somebody pocketed that money. They tried to swindle somebody out the money, and then somebody noticed it, and they got called out. So,
and that's the problem with the VA healthcare. There's all this money that gets thrown around that we don't ever see. It's going in someone's pocket. It's just not going into our care. That's the other thing too. Is like, so even with my chiropractor, I was told by somebody that apparently like this facility they can't keep chiropractors, and she's good and she's young, but they keep getting hired out like to other locations, and it's like a stepping stone. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's hard for the VA to, especially like if you compare it to the private field. I don't think I guarantee you the money that they're getting paid in the VA is probably nowhere close to what they could get paid in the private sector.
yeah, because a lot of those people at those VA hospitals are contractors. You know, they're contracted out. They stay there for a little while, however long they stay there. And then once their contract's up, they move on to wherever else they're doing, to their practice. They go back to their practice. Or they're usually like retired colonels or whatever, reservists, and they just come in here and work. And just the care is not the same, man. I've never, like I said, I've never been directly involved with the VA. I took a friend there one time, and I was just like, nah, I'm glad I can't do it.
I mean, up until I stopped working in 2020, like I had both. So I was dealing with the VA for like my primary stuff, and then I had the private health insurance through my work. But since like I've only dealt with the VA, I mean, whatever they send me to in the last 3.5 years. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but definitely like that whole only 171 hospitals.
Yeah.
That's insane. I didn't realize that the number was that low.
For the amount of veterans that we have.
Yeah. I mean, just like I was even in here in New York, like you got this side of New York has got all these hospitals, and the other side of New York is like, yeah, get bent, guys. You guys got to all deal with this one hospital that's garbage. It's like Albany VA is trash.
Yep.
It's outdated and depressing and
stinks.
Yeah.
Smells funny. Smells like people
Burnt
dying in there.
Burnt rubber and shame.
Yeah, it smells like a morgue. You're just like, man, shoot, I think I'm walking there and you're like, man, I've knocked a couple years off my life just sitting in here.
I mean, even like in the Atlanta VA and it used to be just creepy. You just sitting there, you walk through the halls, and it's just it's like you could smell death. The Bath VA is actually, it's not that bad. It's pretty nice. It's a pretty decent little like combat. I guess they've got a national cemetery there too that I haven't checked out yet.
Of course, right behind the hospital.
Yeah,
all about.
Now never mind.
But the one thing with the VA, between a VA and a private hospital, is when you go to the VA, you got to understand the people that are coming in there. A lot of them combat vets, a lot of them of course, veterans, combat veterans with injuries, PTSD, all types of issues. The issues you see in a VA hospital, you don't see in a normal hospital. There's some, depending on what the issue is now. But you don't see a bunch of amputees running around a normal hospital. You don't see a bunch of guys with mental health problems running around a normal hospital usually. You don't see that. In the VA, it's just different. Like we were saying, it's just a different aura. It's a different feeling when you walk into a VA hospital. It's almost like the Grim Reapers is standing there waiting for somebody just go. That's what it feels like to me. And I was just like, I can't come back here, man. There's something about this place. I just, the energy in there, you know what I mean? It was just off for me.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, for me. I mean, I'm not speaking for anybody else, but I know from my experience, just sitting in one, not just, when you stay in a hospital, you get hospital food, they bring you MREs and stuff, and an MRE heater. They're like, here you go. What's this? It's your chow, man. No, I don't want that.
You know what? If I was in a hospital and they did that, I would immediately be healed. Like, no, I'm good. I'm walking out.
Hey, hospital food is good.
I ain't eating this stuff.
Hospital food is good, and now you can get DoorDash delivered too. Poof!
Really?
Heck yeah! If you got to stay in the hospital, you order DoorDash, and the hospital staff will bring it up to you. So you don't have to eat the hospital food. You can order DoorDash or whatever.
Okay.
Wow. Legit. I'm gonna stay in the hospital, man. It's a good break.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go get checked in here in a little bit.
It's a good break from life. You know what I mean?
Oh man,
not a good experience, but it was a good break. I slept a lot.
I appreciate you guys I appreciate you guys for keeping the show going, because for a minute there I was gone and I thought I ended the live.
Oh yeah, we know.
I'm thinking to myself, I was like, wait, did the host just leave us?
Yeah, I was like, no.
Rule of thumb: just keep talking, keep the party going. Just act like he didn't even disappear.
Show must go on.
Yeah, show must go on.
He did that earlier, and it was just me, and I'm just sitting here like, what happened?
What do I do with my hands?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, man.
But anyway, I got to get off here. The family wants to go to some food truck festival down here, and
okay,
I gotta go over here. And not my mom and my sister and my niece and all these people that I'm not used to living around. But
good
yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Oh yeah, bro, Kitch, man, thank you for popping by, bro. Seriously.
Yeah, I had to lead the Savage Patriots early because I was like, hey, I gotta go, and they were like, all right. We were talking about I Speak, so go check that one out. That's good.
Oh, I will.
Everybody that knows I Speak, what we're talking about.
Yeah. So where can people find you real quick?
So I do a podcast every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every other Saturday on the Savage Patriots. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we're on YouTube, and then every other Saturday. So not tomorrow, next Saturday we do a Rumble episode. Then I do the Hooch podcast, which is a veteran-oriented. It's a veteran podcast. One guy's a Marine, and the Army guy. We've been around for 7 years, and we're every Sunday. So we do that one. And then, of course, I'm on all over Facebook. I have the Savage Patriots Facebook page. I have another political page called the Grizzled Grunt. I have my food page called the Bro Kitchen, and the Hooch podcast. And then I do my TikToks. And so I'm just all over. Yeah, all over the place. I've been doing it for a long time, man. So this is easy for me, right?
Yeah.
Doing it so long. So I've been podcasting since 2016. So
wow.
I've been doing it a while.
I can barely keep track of like 2 TikTok accounts and everything.
You got to know how to multitask, man. You just got to be able to do all these. You got to be able to do all these different pages and tasks, and it's a lot. You know what I mean? So between like the 2 podcasts and all my other pages. I'm constantly on those pages updating information and updating. Then my cooking, I'm constantly posting videos, trying to get my cooking stuff out there on top of being in school at the same time. So it's just
nice.
on top of trying to sell my house at the same time. So imagine, you know,
Wow.
just all this
Yeah.
stuff going on, but I make it happen, you know.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Nah, man, we appreciate you, bro, Kitch. Thank you, man.
All right, brothers.
Yeah,
See you guys around.
cheers.
See you around
Yeah,
TikTok.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's good. Yeah, wow. Yeah. So, all right. So, anything else, guys? You guys have anything else?
Shot time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cheers.
My whiskey's in the other room.
Oh, there you go. Well, there you go. Sweet. Screw it. Let's do it, man.
I got agua.
Oh, hey.
Hey, you guys stay hydrated.
Yeah.
You know, I'll
Especially
have
when you're
water.
old, fat, and
Yeah,
have
stay
squeeze.
hydrated.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
so-
I promise Josh that
What's up?
that I would not get drunk on his show anymore because
Anymore?
Anymore? You what? I couldn't tell.
Yeah,
I mean,
when we were on with 3 Rows and Drunken Senpai. Oh, we were knocking him back, and we got long-winded, and I'm sitting there like passing out and shit. Girlfriend's like, "You need to come get me." I'm like, "Oh fuck."
yeah.
So one beer, one shot for right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man. His computer did like a freaking it was like a nighttime
Yeah. Well,
what's the word? Gosh damn it. Night vision. There you go.
yeah,
I'm like,
it was.
what the hell happened? This kid?
It went dark mode.
Yeah. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's I mean, just like I said, this is like a soft dive of the VA, but I mean, I'm sure that you can just like see, you guys can see for yourself. I mean, the audience when I'm talking to, that it goes deeper, man. I mean, I was when I was doing the research too, it was more like there's a guy on Rumble that I'm following, and as a matter of fact, his name is Stu Peters, and like, you know, he's an ex-military vet, and he did a deep dive on the freaking VA, and I'm like, whoa, wow, it's crazy, dude.
Yep.
I mean, it 100%, and I think even now, actually, I don't even know who the director is anymore. Like, they were changing so frequently that I just stopped.
Actually, the current VA director was at one time working for the Obama administration in the White House. He was some sort of staffer. And in 2017, you know what? Let me look it up because that's gonna drive me nuts because I had that information.
But yeah, I think it should 100% be broken down, torn down from top to the bottom, and just remade because the current system has not been working for a very long time.
Nope.
Oh no, man, they're complaining that but it's just like I was showing you that article, Sweets, backstage. They said there's an article of last year of April that said that they're still fluffing the wait times and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an endless cycle, man. That, you know, them just taking your money, you know, or taxpayers' money, and basically screwing the vets over, man. It's crazy.
So the director's name, the guy that you want to yell at, is the Honorable, my ass, Dennis Richard McDonough. He was nominated by President Biden in February of 2021. The United States Senate confirmed him, and he was sworn in on the 11th of February. And okay, Secretary McDonough served in the Obama administration as the 26th White House Chief of Staff from February 2013 to January 2017. Which is kind of weird. Why would he be the Chief of Staff all the way to 2017 when Trump was already president? I don't know about that. That's kind of weird. But you know, that's something, that's another rabbit hole to go down. But that's the guy you want to yell at.
Yeah, man. There's yeah, you know. But it also goes to show the audience out there that if you believe the government's gonna save your ass, they can't even. They screw up every freaking time.
You're in big
I don't-
trouble.
Exactly. I don't get it. You look at Venezuela, same shit. I had a guy, a coworker, used to say it was like almost equivalent to America, and then all of a sudden, this crap started happening, and then he's like, "Oh yeah." Now I still talk to him off and on. He's like, "This country's going the same route as all the other." You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
It's just, and I don't know, I knew that was supposed to be like a 30-day threshold. Like, if you can't get an appointment within 30 days, then they send you to the community. But like I was saying earlier, that neurology appointment, it's next Wednesday, and by that time it'll have been 2 months since they assigned it or whatever, or they scheduled it. But then they were saying that the community, local, would be even further out. But even for this thing, initially, before, because I had it drained last week, but before I even saw my provider, she put in a referral for dermatology, and this was three weeks ago, and she scheduled me an appointment with dermatology, and they're like, "Oh, we can get you in December 1st." I was like, so, and this thing at the time, that's why I ended up going to the urgent care. It felt like just the slightest pressure, it was going to blow out the entire back of my neck. I'm like, this thing, there's no way I'm waiting until December with this thing, this extra person growing out of the back of my neck.
Mm-hmm.
Went to urgent care, and the guy's he's like, "Oh yeah, you need to get that surgery, not dermatology. They're not going to do anything."
Was it lipoma?
No, it's a sebaceous cyst.
Ugh.
Yeah, infected, I guess. And then I went to some general local surgeon guy last week, and I thought I was just doing a consult, and he's like, "Hop on the table. I'm gonna get my equipment." I was like, "Wait, what?" And he numbed me up, cut it open, and I tell you what, that's some of the worst pain I've ever experienced in my life. This dude, this grown man, is just squeezing the crap out of this cyst on the back of my head, and I'm like, I don't ever want to do this again, ever.
That's making my head hurt just hearing it.
It sucked.
And
it's still kind of irritating, but it's significantly smaller.
Yeah. I had a lipoma on the middle of my back, right between my shoulder blades, and it was the size of my fist.
That's where this thing was. That's where this thing is.
And I wanted to cry. And they cut that thing out. I was awake the whole time. They would just numb up the area. And if he got to an area where it wasn't numb, it just felt like I was being poked with a needle. And he dug the whole thing out while I sat there, and I got a big gnarly scar on my back now. But cutting it out is much better than being Dr. Pimple Popper. It's kind of gross.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he didn't remove it. It's still in there because he said it was too full for him to even remove it. He had to drain it. That's how big it was.
Wow.
So I got to go back in 2 weeks, and I don't know if they're gonna eventually, because it's still there. I can still feel it. But he was squeezing it, and it was that numbing stuff did not I could feel every second of him numbing, and I'm just sitting there He's like, "You're doing good. You're doing good." I was like, "No, I'm not." Squealing like a pig. This is terrible.
Oh man.
Yeah, I had no idea that it completely came out of left field. Yeah, just hop on the table. I'm gonna go get my equipment. It's like, what?
Yeah.
We're just doing this, huh?
Yeah.
The worst part is, those little plastic cups on Benadryl and stuff.
Yeah.
He told me, he felt the need to tell me afterwards, "Oh yeah, there was so much in there, it would have filled half of one of these." I'm like, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's not what I want to hear. I had that just sitting inside of me. That's
Wow.
Sheesh.
Hey, well, at least you guys didn't have a little bump. Man, I had a bump about this big, like a golf size bump on my head, about 5 years ago. Man, it looked like an extra nipple. No lie, it was like that, dude. It was like that big, bro.
Yeah.
And so basically, I had my father-in-law. He's was a practitioner at the time, so he ended up freaking getting it out. It no lie, like a golf ball, man. Oh, it was crazy on the side of my head. I have 3 years.
Yeah, I called it my back titty.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That's like this thing. I've had it for years, and
Oh, wow.
it just was. It was just like I could feel it like at times, and I was just like, that's weird. I don't know. And I had an ex who she was like she loved watching that Dr. Pimple Popper stuff, and she would just like, here, let me pop these, and then she would squeeze that, and stuff came out all the time. But it's been years. And then all of a sudden I woke up like one morning and I swear to God, this thing was like a golf ball on the back of my neck. I was like, what the crap is this? And it hurt like hell. Like if I tilted my head like this, it literally felt like the skin was just like, hey, we're going to just go ahead and let this go now. Yeah, it was bad. Just out of nowhere.
Let it happen.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
Then in the shower, stretch it out.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and end this podcast with you know what's next. Happy endings. This is a video from Babylon B that Sweets through TikTok. It's funny as F, man.
This is amazing.
Greetings, humans! I have come to your planet to help you. On my world, there is peace, a utopia where everyone gets along. And we want to impart this wisdom onto you.
Sounds great. It'll get us on the right side of history faster. Let's hear it.
To achieve utopia, you must first all agree upon this one simple concept. All lives matter.
What'd you say?
Are you out of your mind?
I'm lost? Why has this upset you?
All lives don't matter. Some lives matter some of the time.
Yeah, some lives matter more than other lives, and that's that.
But we have achieved paradise. I have the proof it works. All lives matter.
Hey, Sweet! Hey, Sweet!
That is funny.
I love it. Yeah, I died when I first saw that.
Oh yeah, word. Same here. Hate speech.
That's just wrong.
Well, I would wonder what is the alien definition of utopia? Is it getting probed in anal probe for like eternity or what? I mean, I don't know.
We're kind of getting probed now. Like,
oh yeah,
with the cost of everything.
Yeah, there you go.
It's literally like a daily dose of being probed. with Joe just in your ear sniffing you.
Oh hell no, man! Oh.
Hold both hands. Do you feel that?
Oh gosh. Oh, all right.
Enjoy your sleep tonight. I hope those images are in your head the whole time.
Yeah.
I hear sniffing in my sleep.
Suddenly feel something. Get off me, Joe.
It turns out it was my dog.
All right, sweet. So where people can find you, man?
Well, I got the old TikTok. Damn, I don't even remember. It's Just Me Swede, I think. Mm-hmm. I got It's Just Me Swede, and It's Just Me Swede 2.0. And then I got Instagram. I think it's the same thing. It's just Swede. And I think that's it. I got Facebook. I don't use Facebook hardly at all. Facebook is just turned to be stupid. Actually, TikTok's stupid too. I don't know why I use it anymore. Instagram is okay, but no one sees anything. So,
yeah, word, yeah, man. So, Trigger, plug in your socials, man. What's up? What do you got? What do you got?
A lot of it's been getting killed. I've got one TikTok, which is Triggered Unit 22, that I cannot access. But that one's still going. And then the one that I am active on every once in a while is Forever the Trigger over there on TikTok. And then I'm over on X, where it's just Donnie Jackson over on X. And over there, I just roast the left and all celebrities. Have been blocked by a few of them, so that's kind of fun. There's celebrities watching me because they're blocking me. I've got Instagram, which is the Walking Trigger Warning over on Instagram. I mainly stay active over there more than anything. Facebook, of course, which I agree with Swede. There's just a lot of stupidity over on Facebook. everybody complaining about their life and, oh my God, it's the holiday season. What am I going to do? Well, if you're going to call it the holiday season, don't participate. It's that easy. I just
Right.
saved you a bunch of money. So yeah, social media it's been a nightmare lately, and I'm still working on getting YouTube back up. I have not done anything active over there. Just been busy, starting up my own company and working and living the life,
That's what's up, man. You starting your own company?
I am,
Nice.
yeah.
That's what's up.
Heavy equipment repair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool, dude.
Working in my driveway is, it's cool in the summertime, but wintertime's coming. We just had a foot of snow dumped on us a couple weeks ago, so that was cool.
Well, man, I saw that on your Insta. I was like, dude, I'm freezing already, man.
It was deep.
Wow. Anyway, all right, man. All right, guys. Sweets, thank you a lot, man, for showing up on my podcast, man. Sorry about all the technical difficulties, and
My entire life is a technical difficulty. I'm used to it.
we're all, I guess we're all in the same boat too when that comes to that. But yeah, man, thank you for coming, man. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. It was fun.
Yeah, man. Whenever you want to stop on, whenever you want to show up on the podcast again, just give me just go ahead and give me a shout, and I'll have you on again. Not a problem.
Sounds
Always
good.
welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
So are you, TW. So are you, man. You're always welcome.
Appreciate you.
No, I appreciate
I got to
you,
get
man.
you on mine.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
But you got to call in. Mine's not as fancy as this one, so you have to call me, and we'll set it up, and
All right.
we'll go.
Cool,
we'll
man.
go at it.
Yeah, no doubt.
I got to give the Pretty Patriot a hard time because she keeps ghosting me. She's a stoner. She's cool as hell, but she's a stoner. So
Uh-huh.
she got a little high the other night and fell asleep. I'm like, I woke up in a panic. I'm like, why are you waking up in a panic? But she's cool. She's cool.
That's cool, man. That's cool. All right, guys. The Liberty or Death podcast. We are out.
Cheers
Take
to you.
care. Yeah. Love yourself. Love each other. Deuces.
Later, guys.
All right. Hold on. Awesome.